Was there an allegation made by Brad that one of the officers threatened him to kill him? Was there an allegation made by Brad when he was one of your employees, or I guess he still is, but an allegation that one of the officers threatened him to kill him?
Can't comment on anything.
Okay. Sorry. All right, thanks, Chief. I've got to give some superficial credit to the both the selectmen and Chief Dodge in the sense that they are not shying away from all these cameras. They may not answer every question, but then I don't answer every question either. I do also want to mention something that Chief Dodge said earlier. He said that he almost begged Jardis not to do these things that would put him in a position of being fired or suspended. He said something to the effect of, "Brad, don't do this stupid thing." And this surrounded, I think more than anything else, controversy around Brad not showing up for work one day after a conflict with another officer. Or well, it may have been an officer above him in that case. He didn't feel that the notice given of the absence was appropriate. Anyway, if you contrast the scene here, the way the selectmen are comporting themselves and behaving themselves is pretty professional. It doesn't look like some of the strange stuff I've seen in Keene lately, that's for sure. What do you think of this result, Brad?
I had this out on the desk because I was about to hand it to him. And my ID.
You were going to hand it to them?
Well, if they voted to terminate me, I was going to.
And you didn't have to?
No.
Are you glad?
Yes. Yes and no. I know this is an unfortunate situation. I respect very much that the selectmen are in a difficult position, and the chief is in a difficult position, but I would say that a lot of the blame has to do with Joe. We'll see.
We just make sure it doesn't go to an abusive home. There though. Oh, where's Jeremy?
Yeah, that goes with anywhere.
Alright, I should have responded back. I wanted to read it first. Officer Jardis, you know you have to inform me. How do you think you did it all wrong, man. Absolutely screwed it all up. I appreciate you getting us here from the right place. It happens a lot. It's my license request.
So some of what I got the impression were Jardis' critics were making a point of shaking his hand on the way out. So indication that it's not entirely something personal.
Or accused me of being mentally unstable, and they have not a shred of anything to back it up.
Now the officer, or the person who objected to the problem, the guy that when you brought up one of the officers had a drinking problem, somebody objected. Who was that?
That was Officer Rich McFadden, the same officer who took his badge off one night, threw it across the room, challenged me to fight in the back parking lot, and told me he was going to kill me. Again, I reported this to the police chief, and I think you could tell by his response that when one of the selectmen said, you know, did Brad report this to you? His response was, well, it wasn't in writing. Well, I'm sorry, but speaking as an individual critical of a government agency, see, if I was a police chief and an officer said another officer threatened to kill him, I would launch an internal investigation, find out if it was true, and possibly terminate someone. Because civilized people don't threaten each other to fight in the back parking lot, and especially on-duty police officers. And what's funny is this officer is one who signed the statement saying I was mentally unstable, yet I'm not accused of anything violent. I'm not accused of anything other than embarrassing them, which is unfortunate. I don't want to hurt people, but all I did was make some rather unpleasant facts true.
Now, he was wearing a shirt with a thin blue line.
Yeah, it's to indicate that cops don't rat each other.
Okay.
And obviously,
it's reinforcing this idea that the police are in, it's kind of an us versus them, the police against everyone else. Would you say? Or?
There is a large part to that, and certainly early in my career I didn't quite understand that. And as you saw tonight, I mean, I'm not perfect. I've made mistakes. They gave 4 examples of how I handled situations poorly.
The thing that keeps striking me, as I hear these criticisms of, 4 or 5 different decisions Brad made in the field, is that, we have cops all over America that kill people in the field that shouldn't be killed. They shoot them in the back sometimes. They beat them up. They're upset because he stood in the doorway of a haircut shop briefly. Okay, now one other question. I don't have a ton of comment from the other side, so I'm going to try to play their advocate for just a second. But one thing that the chief said that I feel like I don't really understand yet is he basically accused you of inappropriately signing out from work, or at least not appropriately going on sick leave the way you're supposed to.
What he said is actually inaccurate. The conversation I had with both him and the lieutenant was over BlackBerry Messenger. And I said, and all my BlackBerry Messenger conversations are saved, so I can show it to anyone to rebut what the chief said. I said, I'm going out on medical leave. I'll have medical documentation shortly. And the chief was upset, and I can honestly see where the chief's coming from, because unless I have medical proof for him right away, I mean, like, an employee just can't sign themselves out on sick leave forever. So he had a very good point. At this point, I was very stressed out, a very difficult time.
It's not easy being the only LEAP member in the entire country that's a sitting police officer.
As I said before in there, there's been times when I've been in situations that I should have handled myself differently. And
you didn't beat up any old ladies. You didn't shoot anybody in the back like cops all over the country seem to be doing these days.
I should have been more diplomatic in trying to serve a warrant, and I should have been more diplomatic in trying to see if there were underage people drinking. And I accept full responsibility for it, and I would try to never make that mistake again.
All right. Thanks, Brad.
Thank you.
Miller Travis, or Cooper, one of those guys with messy hair, said that he counted 44 liberty activists here in that room. You said you feel it. You said you feel that the chief didn't give you an answer, or that's my job. But what exactly were your concerns about?
Well, I just want to know how far this goes.
You mean if forces at the state level were involved?
Well, it would be nice to know if, we have rights in this country to speak and believe as we believe we have, or whether or not, certain organizations and state offices can question our involvement or the way we happen to think about things.
And you're worried that the state got involved, that the Attorney General got involved?
No, I'm not worried about it per se. I was just questioning whether or not the chief had felt any pressure from that.
And you still feel like you don't know whether he did or not?
Well, he says he didn't, so we'll have to take his word for it.
Oh, okay. All right. All right.
You have a good night.
Thanks, Ms. Gilbert. Take care.
Hey, this is Glenn Jacobs. And Homeland Stupidity, if you want to get the news of the day and the best opinions, Homeland Stupidity is where you need to be. It's not stupid.